Welcome to Real Life Reviews with Kevin and Eric. We're the real guys.
What's going on, y'all?
Man, I'm ready to talk about this, man. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, man. Let's get it going, bro. So this is again Real Life Reviews. Kevin and Eric. We're the real guys. Let's do it.
All right, y'all. So today we're talking about the creator. Been waiting to see this movie. It's been a nice little build up. So just gonna jump right into it. It's got some good actors in it. Of course, it's got John David Washington. He's definitely making a name for himself.
For sure, man. I love his movies, bro.
Yeah, I was gonna say you probably know some of his work. Some of my favorites: Black Klansman. Trying to
The
think what
Tenant,
else. Tenet,
that was
Tenet,
dope.
Malcolm and Marie. I didn't see that, but
He also played the TV show with The Rock called Ballers, which was another great dope show.
right, right. You also have Gemma Chan. She played in the Eternals, and I think she's going to be playing in the Marvels as well. I want to say.
Okay. I didn't know that.
You also have Ken Watanabe. He played in Inception. Actually, he was Mr. Sato. In
Okay.
Inception. So yeah, but yeah, not gonna stick on that for too long. We also have a newcomer. Her name is Madeline Yuna. She actually plays one of the main characters in the film. We'll get to that part, but yeah.
All right.
You want to jump into the plot?
Yes, great to the plot. So for plot wise, this is a movie in the future where humans, the human race, and artificial intelligence rages on, and the war is raging on. Ex Special Forces Joshua, who is John David Washington, is recruited to hunt down and kill the creator, other known as Narmada, the exclusive architect of the advanced AI. The creator has developed a mysterious weapon that has the power to end the war and all of mankind. As Joshua and his team of elite operatives venture into the enemy occupied territory, which is called the New South Asia, um, they soon discover that the world ending weapon is actually an AI in the form of a young child.
All right. Um, so takeaways. I guess I'll go ahead and start.
Yeah, man, go ahead.
I guess it'll be takeaways, kind of like my views or opinion of the film and the plot. So what I took away from it is that, well, one, I kind of feel like it was the Matrix in reverse. I want to say,
Why you say that? That's a
yeah,
different take, man. I wasn't expecting to hear that. The Matrix in reverse. That's a mighty powerful statement, dude. What do you mean by that?
yeah. So, I mean, I'm not going to, go in detail about the Matrix, but we all know the plot. Um, mankind fears AI, and then, a couple hundred, well, a couple centuries into the future, of course, AI takes over. Um, but in this movie, it seems like it's in the reverse. Actually, AI, isn't trying to take over, but they're actually trying to, integrate, to society. They've become a part of society, and
Okay.
they've become accepted. And one of the things I liked is that you know, AI didn't come about like in the future, like the 21st century or whatever. It actually started in the 20th century. It looked like it was in the 1950s
Yeah.
when they, introduced, the idea of AI and them, being companions in the home and whatnot. So they had significant amount of time that they were, using, advanced technology, in America, at least or in the West.
It kind of reminded me of the Jetsons almost.
Yeah,
Like the first portion, they kind of remind you Jetson with the Betty robot, and everybody's like is
yeah,
gradually incorporating into society, and everybody is like adapting to this new normal.
yeah. So you could call it, or you could say, reverse matrix and kind of like Jetsons kind of combination.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I that was my like idea of the plot. Um, also, um, it talks about you know AI possibly taking over. I think is the fear of the West. Obviously, in the East and New Asia, which from the map that they showed looked like Thailand. Um,
in India.
yeah, the West was afraid that AI is going to take over. So what happened is there was a war, quote unquote, um, and then all the AI in America, possibly in the West, but they just focused on America. All the AI was destroyed, but in the East, um,
But was it?
that's a good question. That's a good question. Uh,
America doing what America does in movies.
that's true. That's true. It wasn't completely destroyed. They kept enough of it for their own purposes,
And what
um,
was his purposes?
for destruction. Yeah, yeah. American doing what it does best. Yeah, we're not gonna get into that, but yeah. So they destroyed, I guess the population of AI that we're integrating into human society, and then they kept the parts that were useful, which is the weapons, basically. And then they're waging a war on New Asia because they have accepted the AI into their society, and they accepted them as their own, basically. Some of the AI were even practicing Buddhism, which was a big thing in the film. um,
Yeah,
they were peaceful, which again, in this film, the AI were promoting peace, harmony. um,
where the humans were trying
yeah,
to promote destruction and destroy, like in control. And it was
yeah,
all in response to Los Angeles being bombed with a nuke.
yeah,
And we see this like dystopia mindset with America, where like United States were going to just destroy them. And at first, I remember the first part of the story. The general was saying something like, we're this war is against the AI. We're not posing a threat to any of the citizens to South New Asia, New South Asia, whatever.
yeah,
And come to find out, like they were slaughtering literally human beings, like humans and AI alike. They
yeah,
were. It was like, and guess what? The Americans made. They made the biggest weapon, the most baddest weapon in the world, called the Nomad.
yeah,
That joint was crazy, but
yeah, yeah. And y'all got to forgive us. We're jumping around, but I mean, it's real life, so we're doing this in real life. We're just being honest, being straightforward. We don't really have it scripted out, so. Um, but yeah, I was thinking about the bomb that went off in the West. It was nice for once that New York wasn't like the epicenter or something. um,
well, don't forget Terminator, bro. Epicenter and Terminator was also what?
LA,
Los Angeles.
that's true. That's true.
That's a nice little parallel, man.
That's
It's
true.
like like the fear implanted from Terminator manifested in this movie.
Yeah,
That's a tangent. My bad, y'all.
that's another thing I didn't catch. That's a good point. But yeah, the bomb goes off in LA, and I thought about, if it was planned by America, by the West, um, so that they could wage a war, on New Asia. That's what I thought about. Um,
Ooh, that's a good thought, man. And
yeah,
what's the point of raising war? To control, to have the technological advancements in the control
yeah,
of
yeah,
all AI.
yeah. There's a lot of parallels between some of the stuff that happened in the movie and stuff, in real life, that's going on today, stuff that went on in the recent past. So yeah, there's a lot of parallels, definitely. Um, I'm trying to think what else I got from the film. Um, yeah, again, jumping back to the beginning, we see the explosion, um, and then of course, we see the title character, Joshua Taylor, with Maya, who we actually find out later on is Nirmata. Sorry for jumping ahead. Um, but yeah, they had a relationship essentially. It looks like Sergeant Taylor was injured, in the explosion. He lost all of his immediate family, and he had some robotic prosthetic parts. Um, Him and Maya formed a relationship. Um, she found out that he was undercover. That didn't go over so well, and there was an attack. They ended up becoming separated, and the movie goes to a time skip, which is 5 years into the future. And he's trying to find, his wife Maya. Yeah, so
Yep.
it's a lot.
It goes off from there. It goes
Yeah,
off from there, man. He's a man on a mission. He's a man that is determined to find his wife. I remember, like, he said in one scene, he said, "I would give anything for one more minute
yeah,
with her." I was
yeah,
like, "Wow, man, that man was touched, man." And you could feel. I'm not gonna lie, man. This movie, man, I feel like John David really like carried the role, and you can see his pain, his frustration, his anger, and like his resentment, even disappointment in himself for like choosing America's side versus like not just going with the flow of Maya. It was like it was a really great movie in that
yeah,
aspect. I feel like you couldn't take him out the movie. If you took John David out the movie, it wouldn't have been good,
yeah,
in my opinion. I feel like if you take him out the movie, it's the same like dystopian future with AI technology. We're afraid of it. We hate it.
yeah,
People accept it. People are against it. It's like the same concept, the same mindset with everything else, man. It almost feels like an X-Men movie in a way. The
yeah,
way the way mutants are hated and accepted, and but they're good for purpose, and we'll use them for our own purposes for war, but we don't like them. It's just like all that, man.
yeah, yeah. Um, he definitely knows how to pick his roles. Definitely. Um, he's definitely passionate about the craft. You can tell. Like you said, if he wasn't in it, um, I don't know who else I would have, or who I could have thought of that could have portrayed that role as well as he did. Um, so yeah, I mean, any other takeaways? Any other
Any other
things?
takeaways? I feel like Alfie, the person played Madeline, she has an amazing future. She killed that role
Yeah,
as a young child actor to step into that role and bring that depth and the emotion she brought,
yeah,
especially at the end. I mean, like, wow, like it was phenomenal, you know. And then she moved like she was experiencing the world for the first time, like an AI. It almost reminded me like of watching like how Arnold kind of moved in Terminator, right? I
yeah,
feel like Terminator is the best piece of acting for Arnold when it came to him acting and being, a artificial intelligence.
yeah,
And I'm not saying she was like really robotic, more like Arnold, because she's more artificial intelligence and adapting. But it was really good that she could give you that sense of realism with that. Like I really believed she was this.
yeah. Okay. Um, so question. Well, a statement first. So obviously, our podcast is called Real Life. Um, do you think that you know some of the stuff that happened in the movie, is foretelling of things that could possibly happen, like in our future? You think is that outlandish to think, or what?
No, heck no, absolutely not. I mean, we it's very foreboding, man.
Yeah,
Terminator was very foreboding in the 80s, in the 90s, this idea that AI is smarter than us, right?
yeah,
There's when we dive into a reality that a computer is literally smarter than us,
yeah,
and then you give that computer that's smarter than us free thought and
yeah,
free will, and it starts looking at its creators and starts questioning our motives, right? Especially when I go on a tangent about like what we're doing to the earth and like the environment changes we're having, and the use of gasoline versus oil, and how we're depleting our natural resources. Like when you start putting that thought process in there, and you create a new species or a new being that has like an innate ability for self preservation,
yeah,
it's going to look at its creator a little suspect, in my opinion.
I agree. I agree. Um, art imitates life. Art imitates life. Um, I was also thinking, we think about, technology and how far we've come just in the past, I don't know, 10, 20, 30, 50 plus years, even 100 years. If you think about, where technology was in the West or even worldwide, like 100 years ago, um, people couldn't have imagined like some of the things that we're able to do today with technology. So
Right.
just imagine, with AI the way it is now, what's it going to be in the next, shoot, 10 years, let alone the next 100 years.
I
So,
mean, if you look at the movie, man, like they had to think of stimulants. They literally would just copy your brain waves and pathways and
yeah,
put you into a new robotic body.
yeah,
And that was a copy of you.
yeah. I don't think it's too far from, you know, the truth or, at least the possibilities of, our future. So, yeah. I feel like the movie was, in a way, like telling us to embrace it, not to be afraid of it, which I think is good, but also there needs to be some balance. We need to kind of, put some stuff in check when it comes to AI. I think, you know, um, I think we have to have some balance, or who knows what could happen with it. So,
I agree, man. My mind goes to iRobot, man, back with Will Smith in like 2005.
yeah,
I mean, even with the bylaws they created,
yeah,
it's just a slippery slope, man. We have to be careful what we do.
yeah.
Um, yeah, man.
I mean, I know we're kind of nerding out, but uh, I think it's worth telling. I don't think it's too far gone to think that stuff like this, even if it doesn't happen the exact same way, similar things could possibly happen. So yeah, that's just
Yeah,
my
I agree with that, man. I agree with that. I think we foretell, and especially in movies foretell things that can happen. And a
yeah,
lot of times, we look at movies, from back in the day, the black and white films and ideologies that came in the movies. Some of the stuff foretold what happens in the future. Like think about how like back in the day, you watch the Jetsons, they had a screen and you had a video screen, and somebody was talking on the phone through the talking on a screen,
yeah,
right? To talk to somebody long distances.
yeah,
George Jackson's boss would call him on a FaceTime back in the 60s and the 50s, man. Like that was
yeah,
the idea. Now we have Zoom meetings every day.
yeah,
Like that's so you think about that media, TV, it influences. So it influences us. And a lot of times people think an idea and says, I want that to come to life. I would love to be like George Jackson and be able to talk to my boss on a screen.
yeah,
And here we are.
yeah,
This we nerd out, but we nerd out. Let's
yeah,
get back on track.
yeah. So let's jump to the ratings. So ratings, Rotten
Look,
Tomatoes,
we
which
gotta get to the PowerPoint, bro. We gotta let the world see what we see.
yeah, my bad. We're still learning, y'all. Like I said, this is real and uncut, so just bear with us. Um,
All right, that's the explosion right there.
yeah,
That's the Nomad, the Americanized weapon for destruction.
yeah. And NOMAD stands for North American Orbital Mobile Aerospace Defense. So yeah, got
All right,
that.
ratings.
Ratings. So Internet Movie Database gave it a 7.2 out of 10, um, which I think is pretty fitting.
Yep,
Um,
I agree.
Rotten Tomatoes, I was actually shocked. I thought it was going to be a little higher, but they gave it a 68%. Um, Fandango gave it a 77%. That was the viewer rating,
Yep,
not
that's us.
the rating. And then IGN gave it a 7 out of 10.
Which I also
Um,
think is a fair rating.
yeah, yeah. All seems, good to me, except for, Rotten Tomatoes was a little low. Um,
Critics, man, sometimes they don't get it, man. Like I love critics. I feel like they gotten better.
Yeah.
especially now. Because when I was younger, man, we was always say, critics, they didn't know what they're talking about. Like some
Yeah.
movies are hits, right? So,
Yeah.
but 68, I think it should be more in the 70s, mid to high 70s, really, maybe close to low 80s. I thought would be a more realistic number, but hey, we get what we get, right?
Yeah.
But it's still good. It's still fresh. I mean, so go see it.
Yeah. All good with me. Um, so we wanna go to our personal ratings.
Yep, man. Let's go to my favorite time of every cast we show is the real guys rate.
All right. Let's see.
All right, bro. Let's start off with my man Big E. E. Um, Pacing. What do you give it?
Pacing, 7 out of 10. Um, in the beginning, I was a little. It felt a little rushed in the beginning. Like they were throwing a lot of information at you. Um,
I agree.
there wasn't much of a build up, but like they didn't just throw you in like so far that you had no idea what was going on, but you had to be attentive for sure.
Right.
Um, so again, pacing was just a little quick, but I say we're like within the first 10, 15 minutes. Um, they brought everything back around, it started to make a little sense or a little more sense to me. So yeah, I give it a 7 out of 10. Cast, I give a 7 out of 10 as well, which is a fresh rating according to Rotten Tomatoes. Um, has some good actors. You got John David, who has been in some pretty good roles, up to this point. Again, he knows how to pick good movies. We also have Gemma Chan, who's more of a newcomer. You got Ken Watanabe, who's been around for a minute. Can't name all the
Mhm.
films he's been in, but he's solid. And you have a newcomer, Madeline Yuna, like you said, she's gonna be something big, definitely.
I think so, man. Definitely think so.
Yeah. Cinematography is pretty good. I give it an 8.5 out of 10, which is an above average rating. I think it's pretty
Yeah.
fitting. The director Gareth Edwards, he actually directed Godzilla and Rogue One, the Star Wars story. Um,
Both great films. Cinematography was solid, especially
yeah,
that Godzilla, man. When I rebooted the Godzilla franchise, man, or the American
yeah,
Godzilla franchise, it never stopped in Japan. But
yeah,
in the Americanized United States wise reboot, it was really solid, man.
yeah. Storyline, I give it a 7.5 out of 10. That kind of goes with the pacing. Overall, 7.5 out of 10. It was good. It wasn't the greatest, but it kept my attention
Okay.
definitely. Yeah,
What's crazy is, man, like we've been like kind of like close in on numbers this time, like really close in on it.
yeah,
7 out of 10 for me for pacing as well. I felt like the first half when they gave you the introduction of how like they established the thought, right, that this has been happening since the 50s. AI has been way more advanced. It kind of gave you that old school like 50s real that you see in movies, and you start getting that idea. And then they jump to the scene to the explosion, and they jump to the scene of him and Maya together preparing for their baby, and it was kind of at that point kind of rushed to me.
yeah,
Like we just boom, he's married. Boom, we go to the main characters, and we're just get this idea, and then you always gotta feel for their relationship. Like you gotta almost feel like, is this relationship really tangible? Is this really real? Because like this relationship is the motivator for the movie, right?
yeah,
Um, that was a little lacking for me that first part. So that took away from the pacing. For me, casting again, I feel like if John David Washington was not in the role as Joshua, the movie would not be good. So that's why I gave it a 7 out of 10. Cinematography, not a 9 out of 10. The graphics, the everything they used, the cinematography was phenomenal, in my opinion. I feel like it was very eye catching. You really believe this was the world. You really believe that this is a norm because you've seen stimulants everywhere. You saw the AI everywhere. You saw normal robots everywhere. It was just like the whole world was this way, and it just the way they made it seem real. It was phenomenal. The director did a great job on that. Storyline 7.5 on my end. I feel like again, beginning was a little bit rushed. I feel like we need a little more build up. I did like how they broke down each section of the movie, like an old school way. Like they had one scene called The Creator. They had one scene. They had one part of the movie, Mom, and all this different stuff. Like I really like that aspect of the movie. So overall, for me, came out to be a 7.6, just 1 point above my man. But overall, solid movie. If anything, if you're a John David Washington fan, I recommend going and see the movie for him, honestly, because I feel like he killed it. Got an amazing future as an actor. I can't wait to see more from him. I was hoping for a little bit more action from him because Tenet, he was a dog in Tenet. So when I saw Tenet and they sent me like an action sci-fi future fantasy movie, I kind of expected a little more action from him. But one thing I will say, I did like that he really showed his acting chops, like his emotional side.
Yeah.
You really believed everything he was feeling. It showed the depth of him as an actor. And I was like, man, this is phenomenal.
Yeah. Denzel Jr., basically.
For sure, man. For sure. Hey, man, so I think we should wrap this up, man. I think that's it for us, man. We went a little bit over on this time. We used to try to keep it down to 20, but we got 26 this time. I think this is a good time to wrap it up, man. Party remarks?
Yeah, I know we got to wrap it up, but I wanted to say that the score was amazing also. And
guess who did that? Hans Zimmer.
Hans Zimmer, yeah. If you've seen Interstellar, 12 Years a Slave, Minions, I believe.
Batman v Superman?
Yeah, BVS. We'll be here on
Man of Steel?
Yeah.
And Justice League.
Yeah. Blade Runner 2049.
We keep going on with this guy. We got to stop.
All right. But yeah, closing remarks. Overall, good film. The message was clear and concise. I enjoyed it.
I agree, man. So hey, this is Real Life Review with Kevin and Eric. Life is while you're here. We'll see you guys next time.
All right. Peace out.